Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a few things. I bought Gareth Brooks's book, which I did a review on. This one by Anna Margarita Matos called Grapefruit, which I'm going to do its own review on. And then these three books as well. Are You Lost Little Bunny by Noemi Vola, Darren Schuler's Piggy Fire, and then just the KUS Cutie Anthology number 48. These are all put out by the KUS company, which is doing a lot of really great, these little small comics that are letting a lot of artists have like a place to experiment and put out short works and, get on the map and have something to say. So I really enjoy just what this company is doing, and I think everyone should be supporting it. As a company like this will be, there will be ones that speak to a given person more, like this book or Gareth Brooks, where I'm going to do like a whole video for them. And there's other ones that just don't speak to me as much personally, but I want to share them. So real quick, Noemi Vola's Are You Lost Little Bunny? This is a pretty wild book. It basically takes the lost little bunny being stalked by the wolf here. And it's basically seems to be a book about trauma in a sense, where you get like this totally nutso artwork combined with some really cutesy stuff. And here you have, like, for the rest of your life, everything is going to get worse. I want to die. And then over here you have the I am very well, thank you, while they're like stabbed in the heart and crying and farting out rainbows or whatever. So the art in this one's not my favorite thing, but it really lands the point, I think, of like this almost childhood abuse leading to later issues. And so I think the childish art combined with the very like hectic outsider art or naive artist look of this stuff is really powerful. And then there actually is a lot of stuff going on in terms of color and material applications that I think is more sophisticated than at first glance. So that was an interesting one. I mean, not totally in my vein, but I think it was well done. And then Darren Schuler, Piggy Fire. This is a pretty well done one, but quick. So it's definitely strange. Each page is its own illustration. You have this guy who's obviously, has his family that he loves, but they're driving him crazy. His buddy comes and picks him up, and he's like, "Hey, Froggy, how's the fam?" And he's like, "Let's get the hell out of here. They're going to go have a guy's weekend." And then by the end of the book, it just gets really fucking strange. Spoiler alert, I guess, but it's so short, where they've now somehow summoned Miss Piggy out of their fire, and color gets introduced to the book. So strange, enjoyably strange. I don't know what it's all about, but it's fun. And that's what I like about these mini KUS, is that they allow for, it's almost like, I said this in a couple other videos, I think, when a band is allowed to do just like a one-off song for a soundtrack, I feel like that's how a lot of artists are using this as a chance to just try some ideas. I think that's a really good thing for the medium to have. Is even like I would love to see like I would love to see like Jim Lee get one of these and then just do something totally wild. Like see some really established artists do something that's really outside of what they normally do and have a place to play, along with obviously exposing the new artists is really good. But I like that function of people stepping outside of what they normally do. Then this issue 48 of the KUS Cutie, I think is what it's called. This is Baltic Comics magazine KUS number 48. And this one says, artists from across the African continent and the Baltic region tell stories about ghosts from their past. They deal with exploitation, immigration, racism, environmental disasters, and other traumas, as well as personal and spiritual tales involving the supernatural. Sometimes it's hard to get rid of all the ghosts, and simply running away doesn't help. Don't be spooked. Let's face our demons. So each one of these has a theme like that, and then you get a whole bunch of artists again that are being exposed for the first time or are getting the chance to play or whatever. So I'm just going to show one little spread from each artist and give their name. This is Isaac Zavale. These are mostly what looks like single illustrations. I'm not sure where this is supposed to be based, but it's kind of just showing a certain view of life in certain neighborhoods and things like that. This is Anna Malika. This one is, I feel like, way more interesting than I can interpret, because I feel like it's talking about something culturally I don't understand. They're talking about the dowry chest. What's in my dowry chest challenge? It's my linen spirit Lindrax drawn threadwork tracks writing on cloth moth sacks. And there's this like cloth thing that gets folded up here. And so I have a feeling this is some kind of marriage veil or something like that. There's a cultural reference I'm not getting here from either Africa or the Baltic region, that's getting twisted and contorted in this story. So it's interesting. I really like this one by Clinton Osborne. This is basically like the history of like capitalism here. The cartooning here works. It's almost like Egyptian a bit, but applied like this looks like Egyptian figures, but drawn as white colonialists. But then the insertion of all of these emojis and stuff I think is really funny. And that's a beautiful diamond, and this cake is so good. Life is good. And then this character here is like, this sucks. What the fuck? So these guys over here celebrating their delicious rewards, and these characters here working in the diamond mines, obviously. I think artistically, one of the people that stood out the most is this artist here, Othman Selmi. This is someone I definitely went and looked up on Instagram. Really, really nice art here. You can see like a little bit of like a Michael DeForge type of thing going on in there. I also think Max Huffman a little bit. Really, really like the art and the colors in that one. Oscar Pavlovskis. This is a really interesting one where I think they might be paintings. Yeah, I guess those are paintings. They look really three-dimensional like Play-Doh though. Really interesting, kind of illustrated with dialogue at the bottom. Theophil Original Monyavanu. I don't know how to pronounce that. This is a kind of more standard comic one. I really particularly like this page here with the character going off the cliff and then the extreme change in perspective to landing on the donkey's back. Some really brutal, like gruesome hung man with his lower half ripped off. Martins Zustis. Really like the cartooning in this one. And this strange thing here where it's like he reached into his secret pocket and pulled out a hat. I appreciate that, as the hat covered up his nasty wound. And then they immediately go into this like sharpening the pencil, which is strange following that, but also like goes with the idea of the wound. And then like the character starts drawing him, and I like that, holding out the pencil and taking the measurements. It's funny. Miguel Anuscucci. I have no idea how to pronounce any of this stuff. I apologize. This one is, I think, well written, where we need to redefine ourselves in our own terms. So instead of saying have a guilty conscience, have an angry conscience. This is about ghosts getting a bad rap, and the ghosts have been basically, I'm not a ghost anymore, I'm just a guilty conscience, and the ghosts are trying to redefine themselves to be scary again. Ghosts of the past, generational trauma will equal ghosts of the future, will haunt generations. So just trying to make these things, intense again. And then this one I think is just funny. Woke culture turns into culture of restless slumber. Said, sorry, I think that making fun of woke culture is a low-hanging hangman. So it's like I'm not even actually making fun of it. I'm just, playing a little game with a pun there. So that was fun. And it does seem like these artists that are dealing with these topics are kind of in different philosophical and political positions, which is really cool as well. Luntu Vumazonke. This one, the story and art, I feel were a bit weak, but it's really nice to see a lot of voices. This just feels pretty rudimentary to me. This Akvile Magic Dust, I think is how the last name is pronounced. I hope that's the real last name of this artist. Really like the art in this one, the shape-based approach with the watercolors, referencing Jodorowsky. What if Jodorowsky is right and the lives of our ancestors are still affecting us? Their traumas, their decisions, their wars, their ruptures. So you can see that idea of generational trauma and stuff as a topic for a lot of these artists, as it is for all of us, I think, these days. Kofi Roje Ningisson, I think is how you would pronounce this. This is just someone, talking about their ancestors and their grandpa and some of the stories that they've heard as a kid. This one was really interesting to me. This is by Ksenia Tarasova. Um, it just starts saying, I must become innocent again. And then you have like all of this very painful medical looking stuff. And something about this suggested to me that it was about abortion. And then at the end, she is like holding this little figure. So it seemed to me like someone regretting an abortion, but I'm not quite sure. This is a more standard with computer coloring, but it's like a little horror story about being married to a ghost. This is by Judith Kaluge. Kaluge? Yeah. This is a team between Ernest and Andreas Clavins with some fun, very simple cartooning. This is a ghost, someone who will like rid you of your ghost. Edward Vermeulen, some really intense art here. It killed Uncle Whitey from next door. I feel like anytime I see a kid in class that draws like this, I pay more attention to their mental health. This was the other artist that I really, really like from this book. This is Mark Antonius Puckin, and I just think some of the effects that are in here are so beautifully rendered, and the story itself was pretty interesting. I was able to find on Instagram, but it doesn't seem like Mark does many comics. And then this is a more simpler strip here by Koing Lu Q. And then in the back you have like a little bio of all the artists, where they from, where you can find them on social media and all that kind of stuff. So as with any anthology, there's things I really like, there's things I don't like, but I think the KUS is probably not necessarily my favorite anthology, but I think it's one of the more important ones out there because they get such a wide spread of artists from all over the globe. Like there's stuff in here, like I said, that seems pretty amateur to me, but the fact that I'm getting to see like an amateur comic artist from Africa is amazing, and getting that kind of breadth of what's out there in the world, I just think is better for the medium. So really love what KUS is doing as a company. And, when their stuff lands, it really, really lands for me. And even the stuff that doesn't land personally, I still feel a lot of value in the exposure that they're giving. And so hopefully you all can go. I think they still have a ton of this stuff that you can get back order. That's one of my, like, when I get a chunk of monies, I'm going to go and get as many of these, try and get as big of a collection of these as possible, because it's really awesome. And the stuff that they don't have in print anymore, they have free for download as well. So I have a bunch of that I haven't looked at, but really cool company. Definitely, please go support them. House on Fire by Matt Battaglia is a just gorgeous book where Matt's kind of making an emotional response to the years of COVID and wrapping that into a sci-fi dystopian future that really the sci-fi dystopian's backgrounded, and you're focused on the emotional journey of two characters in a really beautiful way. And then that's enhanced by Matt's like really awesome, loose, kind of Paul Popish dry brush work. And then Sean and Matt have worked to get this second kind of orange spot color in there that's going to look really, really beautiful, and has allowed Matt to use his dry brush technique to add tone to the thing too. So with Sean's production technique, this is going to be a gorgeous book with a lot of heart.
Make sure to like, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell.